Anthropic just released Claude 3.7 Sonnet and Claude Code, and they seem very exciting. This new blog post and basically announcement of Claude 3.7 Sonnet, it comes after a few months of silence from the Anthropic team. It was quite obvious that they are cooking something. I mean, some people didn't know what's going on with them, and most of the people, I guess the majority, knew that something is cooking, and it's very exciting to see the release of Claude 3.7 Sonnet. In this short video, I'm going to share with you all the things that you need to know about this announcement. So basically, I'm going to go over this blog post, and then we will dive into a few more things that you should know. So Claude 3.7 Sonnet shows particularly strong improvements in coding and front-end web development. Along with the model, they are also introducing a command line tool for agentic coding, which is called Claude Code. We will cover the documentation of Claude Code afterwards. Claude Code is available as a limited research preview and enables developers to delegate substantial engineering tasks to Claude directly from their terminal. Claude 3.7 is available on all Claude plans, including Free, Pro, Team, and Enterprise, as well as the API. And the costs are pretty similar to the cost of Claude Sonnet 3.7. It's not the cheapest, but it's probably the best. Now, about the model. So we've developed Claude 3.7 Sonnet with a different philosophy from other reasoning models on the market. Just as humans use a single brain for both quick responses and deep reflection, we believe reasoning should be an integrated capability of frontier models rather than a separate model entirely. So they are probably speaking about the OpenAI, which have the models that have reasoning capabilities such as O1 and O3, and the models that are faster and provide quick responses such as GPT-4o, etc., 4o mini. So they say the unified approach also creates a more seamless experience for the user. Basically, here is some fluff about the mechanism. I'm going to skip this. Okay, so this is cool. Second, when using Claude 3.7 Sonnet through the API, users can also control the budget for thinking. So basically, you can tell Claude to think for no more than n tokens for any value of n up to its output limit. So this allows you to trade off speed and cost for the quality of the answer. And they are also mentioning that during the development of the reasoning models, they optimize not for math and computer science competition problems, which probably they are kind of alluding that this is what our other companies are doing, but instead they shifted focus towards real-world tasks that better reflect how businesses actually use LLMs. Now, this is the interesting stuff. So early testing demonstrated Claude's leadership in coding capabilities across the board. This is some social proof of platforms, famous platforms that are using Claude and saying that it's significantly better. This is the interesting part, the benchmark. So as you can see in the software and engineering benchmark, you can see based on the data that they provide, how much better it performs than the 3.5, OpenAI's O1, O3 Mini High, and DeepSeek R1. So significantly better. Now, in terms of agentic tools used, as you can see over here, also way better than the competitors. Below, there is like a, if you're interested, there is like an appendix that tells exactly what does each benchmark relate to. But for me, I just want to cover this very briefly just to show you the numbers seem to be way better than the competitors, as you can see over here as well. Now, another new thing that they introduced is Claude Code, which basically allows you to use Claude in your terminal. And it's kind of similar to tools like Corsair or Windsurf or Klein or Rucode, which are VS Code extensions. Basically, it allows you to connect to Claude, and using natural language, you can ask it to do different stuff. So you can ask it to analyze your code base. You can ask it to write code, refactor code, anything that you would like. The downside is, since this is like a very early stage of Claude Code, it's via the command line, doesn't have beautiful UX UI like the competitors that I mentioned. As you can see here, there is like a more detailed documentation about how to use Claude Code. So basically the capabilities are editing files and fixing bugs across your whole code base, answering questions about your code architecture and logic, executing and fixing text, linting and other commands, searching through Git history, resolving merge conflicts, and creating commits and PRs. Now there are a few prerequisites in order to install it. Over here you have the installation, which is very straightforward. And over here you have like some examples of use cases. So it can understand unfamiliar code, it can automate Git operations, it can edit code intelligently, test and debug your code, etc. Over here you have like a cheat sheet or all the ways to control it, like the CLI commands. So how to run a query, how to enter the configuration settings, etc. Over here you have a way, like slash commands that allow you to control Claude's behavior within a session. So bug, the proposal to report a bug, help is get usage help, checks if you use like the slash command doctor, so it checks the health of your Claude Code installation, etc. A few tools that are important to acknowledge or be aware that are available at the Claude Code. So Claude Code has access to a set of powerful tools that helps it understand and modify your code base. So agent tools, which runs the sub agent to handle complex multi-step tasks. Bash tools, which executes shell commands in your environment. Glob tools, which finds files based on pattern matching. A few more tools over here. I'm not going to go over everything. Now, a few best practices. So review suggested command before approval, avoid piping untrusted content directly to Claude, verifying proposed changes to critical files, and report suspicious behavior with bug. Now, the last thing that I want to share that is also important, that they also released, is an ability to connect to your GitHub repository. As you can see here, you can just come to the homepage, start the chat, and then you can connect to your GitHub repository. This is a project, a build that allows you to migrate your website from one platform to another. So it crawls all the website, it downloads all the images. So what I can do here, I just connect to my GitHub, add all the files from the repository, and then I can just start discussing with Claude, asking it to adjust or analyze or do whatever. So can you please analyze this code base? So it's going to start an analysis. Over here, as you can see, you can choose the thinking mode. So basically, they said that they are not similar to OpenAI because they have one model for two different modes, which is correct. But as you can see here, they have two different modes of thinking. So the normal, which is best for most use case, and the extended, which is best for math and coding challenges. So let's switch to the math and coding challenges. And I think that it kind of lost the context, but we can tell it to create should we tell it to create a snake game, or are we over it already? Yes, let's keep the snake game and the examples. Obviously, if you're interested in more data about this announcement, check out the Anthropic X page or Twitter page. Check out the blog post, which I'm going to share in the description of the video, and I'm also going to share the link to this documentation, which contains instructions about how to install Claude Code. I haven't messed around with the 3.7 Sonnet enough in order to give my first impressions, but I'm very excited about this because, first of all, it already can connect to APIs, which is very valuable. We're going to start testing it very soon. So far, in my opinion, Claude 3.5 Sonnet has been the best model in terms of generating code. And based on what the Anthropic team is publishing at the moment in terms of the benchmarks and the performance, I have very high hopes from this specific model. I guess that's it for today, guys. Go ahead and start testing 3.7 Sonnet. Leave your impressions in the comment section. Obviously, if you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Leave a like below. And until next time, keep on automating.